Hey, yo, it is yours truly, Lamore Decina, a.k.a. Mr. Kool Spot,
AKA
the lyrical storyteller,
AKA
the Gator,
the Gator.
live in effect with my beautiful co-host.
What's up, y'all? I'm Free the Poet. He like to tell y'all my whole name all the time.
I
Sharita
do.
Freeman, guys. Okay, don't Google me. You can look at me up on LinkedIn. We can connect.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
how y'all feeling today?
Man, we are live with a live audience today for the very first
Absolutely.
time. We are rebooting the Kool Spot. You guys know, for those of you guys that follow us, we've had our time when we had our peak moments, we've had our low moments, we've had our time where we just paused, we had our time where we just kept it moving. We had a lot of great moments.
Absolutely.
I can say that, whether we were active or inactive. But now we are rebooting. And we are coming fresh, man, with fresh look and fresh feel, just rebranding, coming with a live audience this time around. The objective is to have more like a talk show feel, you know what I mean? So therefore we have a live audience. How you feel about that? For you?
I'm excited. First of all, we're doing it for the culture. I just thought y'all should see this.
Shout out.
Okay, Rebelized Vintage.
Shout out.
Created the shirt with our colors, okay? So just so y'all know, we're doing it for the culture.
Shout out to Mina Rebel.
Mina.
Yeah.
But I'm excited to have a live audience because we have great conversations, we have great debates. And a lot of times it happens off camera. And so to be able to have it on camera and to incorporate others' thoughts and feelings, I think that's important. It's essential. We know how we think. We think very much so alike. Yeah. So even when we have challenging views, I love it because that's how we grow.
Yep. Absolutely. And for those of you guys that's following in the chats, definitely leave your comments up here. We will respond live. This is all, live dialogue. So if you guys have any questions, we want to ask questions to our audience.
Absolutely.
And we're going to get our audience involved. So you guys should be able to hear us. And if you can't hear us on the live stream,
let us know.
Leave a comment. We want to make sure because we've had our technical difficulties that we had to run through, and we finally got up and running. So the layout that we're going to do today.
All right, so we're going to do a quick layout. Now, first of all, we are really big about acknowledgement, right? Yes. So we did start an hour late due to technical difficulties, and we always want to bring you the best quality show that we can. Absolutely. And so we're going to take that needed time. And if it means us setting the clock back, that's why. So we want to thank you for still tuning in. And so with that, this show is called Let's Start Over. So in starting over, whether that's starting a show later because you got to start over because something occurred, right? Life happening, you start a new job. Starting over is such an important tool to be able to do and to not be stuck in a rut when you have to start over or begin again. So we're going to kick the show off, just kind of giving you a recap of actually what the Kool Spot is, right? We've introduced ourselves, but we're just going to give you a quick backdrop of each of us. We're going to talk about the importance of a reboot and what starting over looked like for the Kool Spot as well as us individually. And then we want to get the audience involved. Like, why is starting over important, or what have you learned from starting over? And having that open dialogue and kind of wherever that goes from there, taking it there. And then also, I got this really good quote. It was talking about starting over versus quitting, right? And it being one and the same. So, because, a lot of times we're like, oh, quitters never win. And we teach kids this, but is that factual? So we're going to have a good conversation about that. You know what I'm saying?
Talk about,
some good dialogue. And so, right. Y'all like it at home. Y'all can snap too, okay? We virtually feel it. We feeling the vibrations, guys, okay? So, we're going to do that. We're going to get out your way within 54 minutes because after this, we have a poet cypher, a poetry cypher, and you have to be present to get all this good energy, okay? Absolutely. And I just want to let y'all know we got some heavy hitters here, okay? In the building. So next time, be here on, in person, so you can partake with us. If not, hit us virtually, and we'll figure out how to get you tuned in, okay? But we're about to get started. So let's talk about.
Let's shout out.
First of all, let's shout out this
the Secret Garden
venue.
Shout out to the
Secret Garden. It's in Raleigh, North Carolina. Please understand that it is a Black-owned business. Okay, it's been open only 4 months. They're doing amazing things. It's beautiful on the inside. connect with them. Follow them on social media.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Hey, if you're listening, tune in, drop your social media. Let us
social.
follow you. Yep. Let the rest of everyone else follow you, because we still play recap videos. Yep. And so we want to make sure we're supporting each other. But make sure you check the venue out. They have live events very frequently. They have something tonight too.
Yeah, they have a Haitian compa night. So for all of my zones, all of my zones, we have Haitian compa night tonight. You know what I mean? I've been up since we were up late. Life happens. We'll talk about that.
We had to start over.
But yeah, we had to start over. So I'm planning on being here tonight. So I plan on leaving here, go take a nap, power nap, get dressed. You know what I mean? Come on back and fellowship with my fellow Haitian brothers and sisters. You know what I'm saying?
I'm Haitian by default. I have, my brother's Haitian, my sister, I have best friends, you know what I'm saying? My best friend's mom calls me her Haitian girl. So
yeah.
I'm adopted, guys. Okay.
She's adopted. We'll take it.
I got a kid's birthday party later, so I'm gonna be here. Guys.
But definitely tune in.
Yes.
Shout out to the Secret Garden. Follow them. They're doing a lot of things for the community, a lot of dope events. We have some people that are actually some of the promoters that are here today that you guys will hear from later. We'll get there. We're going to shout everybody out. So
absolutely.
Let's get started.
All right.
Let's start over.
So let's talk about the reboot. Reboot as far as the Kool Spot, right? So the purpose of the Kool Spot, and this is Lamoy. It started as Lamoy Destina's vision, and then it was beautiful. I thought it was an amazing vision, and I was just like, all right, we're working together. Now we're here. Okay. And so the vision was for it to be a place for millennials to get information. And so our main thing has always been facts first. Feeling second. So whatever it is we're discussing, because we've done panel discussions with elected officials or those running for elections, police officers, activists, attorneys, about, Black on Black crime or crime in the Black community, whichever way you would like to say it. We've had discussion about men's health, because that's something a lot of times that's neglected, mental health, sick children, dealing with cancer, dealing with bullies. So there's nothing we won't touch. Okay. We try not to go straight relationship, but we want to give meat and potatoes. We want to give something that we can research, that we can study together, and that we can build upon.
Yeah.
So that's what the Kool Spot is.
Yeah.
But this is the thing, life happens, right? And so when life happens, how do you maneuver? You start a new job. In the last year, both of us started new jobs. Both of us moved.
I just started a new job.
You started a new job again, moved. Both of us moved in the last year. You last year, I moved this year, like a month ago. So there's been a lot of change. And so the importance of, for me, when it comes to the Kool Spot and starting over, is ensuring that we can give you the same quality consistently. Yeah. And we're not going to slight you on that. Yeah. Because we understand the gravity of what we bring, and we want to make sure that it's something that every time you hear the Kool Spot and you get something from it, you're like, you know what? It's consistent. It's always going to be the same caliber.
Yeah. So in life lessons, think about, we all go through life lessons. We all go through life. Some people miss the lessons in life, right?
And we got to
we have to sometimes revisit some things to catch the message, right? So what our objective too is here at the Kool Spot is to share our experiences, what starting over means to us. And even like Free said, it's not just a one topic podcast. We talk about a diverse, everything, whatever's relevant. But our objective is to share our life lesson. What have we learned from these processes? You see
absolutely. So, and acknowledging, because a lot of times stuff will happen and we don't acknowledge, we took a break and it's like, all right, we're back. No, acknowledge why that break happened, because for those that follow you, they kind of deserve to know what's going on. Yeah. And so that's the transparency that we always want to bring, so that you all understand we're all family. Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely.
So let's get into it. So what does starting over mean for you, Lamoy?
Well, first, I guess starting off with the podcast, we'll start there. Starting over for me with the podcast, because the podcast is the baby. The podcast was a vision that hit me. It hit me like 2-3 years ago. How long was it? Like 2020? The end of 2020, was it? Something like that. But it was a vision that I had because we need more voices.
2019.
That's
when we started 2020.
Yeah, the end of 2019 and started 2020. So we need more voices in the Black community, right? We know that society has allowed entertainment, social media, the music industry, the things that's giving us all the negative facts or the negative approaches to life, how we're supposed to live, how we're supposed to interact with each other. Like we're not getting that from the ground roots like we once had it from our elders, right? So we being millennials, me and Free, I was sharing this earlier. Our objective here is to I say it like this: what the millennials, what the baby boomers were to us when it came to information,
the elders,
the elders. So we are now that to the next generation to come. So it's our turn to be the voice of our community. You see what I'm saying? And even we started off with just targeting the millennials and trying to reach out to the younger group, but we found out that it became something for everybody.
Something much more and greater.
Yeah, something much more and greater, because the information that we're sharing is very informative and is very impactful, because we're not just going off of emotions and our thoughts, our opinions. We're talking about what's actually happening, giving statistics and facts and, all kinds of different things. So
is there anything off? Is there anything that's crossing the line when it comes to that? Like, how do you reach out to that younger generation?
There is no line cross. I feel like if we're honest and transparent first, I'm big on communication. So let's start there. So I'm big on communication. I believe that you can cuss somebody out in the middle of a conversation and get away with it if you say it the right way. You know what I mean? So if the best
now
way
but we allow people to have their freedom of speech.
Right. But the best way to communicate is being able to relate. You see what I'm saying? So if I can relate because I know what I've gone through in my past and I see where you're headed, then I have the right and I have the power and the know-how, if I overcame what I experienced, to share with you my processes. I do this with my kids, right? I talk about this with some friends the other day, and I was like, our kids could sometimes be stuck where we were 5 years ago. You see what I'm saying? So for an example, I went through a divorce 5 years ago. You see what I'm saying? Me and my daughter, I'm a single father, had custody of my daughter, so she rolled with me. You see what I'm saying? So everything that I experienced, she experienced. She was affected as well. So for her, whatever traumatic experience she felt experienced back then, she may still be holding on to those things. Right. But we experience the same thing, but maybe different levels, right? So my thing is, in my process with learning how to overcome and become a better person, get past that and healing, I have to now go back and walk her through my process because I left her back there because that's where she's stuck.
But your experiences happen with you.
My experience, yes. It's all about my experiences. See, so same thing with the youth. If I know I used to be in the gang, I've sold drugs, high speed chase with the police, I've, broken the cars, broken the houses. I've done a lot of dumb stuff back in my day, Haitian from Florida, Zopound, all that stuff. Yeah. So I've done all that stuff. So I can relate on different levels because now I'm a new person and that's not my lifestyle anymore. I don't have to look over my shoulders. And it's my job, what I feel, is to educate the next generation to live that same kind of lifestyle. It's about quality. We want to
not live that same kind of lifestyle.
Yeah, to not live that same kind of lifestyle. Right.
And I think they'll probably listen to you better.
Yeah,
if you can relate.
I can relate. That's where the separation comes with the elders and us. So if the elders gave up on us because they couldn't relate to what we're dealing with, or they rather be hands off, then what do we have now to give to the next generation? You see what I'm saying? So if we wasn't equipped to give to the next generation, then we're just as lost. And they're going to be even more lost because we didn't equip them, in their upbringing. So,
and then being honest, if it's not like, for instance, his experiences aren't my experiences.
Right.
So if somebody comes up to me, I'm like, you know what? While I might not personally know, let me connect you with somebody else or another brother that's been through it. I've had one of my best friend's little brother, reach out to me about some men's health questions. And I was elated that he felt comfortable enough to reach out to me. But I was just like, well, baby, I can't help you with that. But let me get my brother that can. So it's also about us creating that network and creating that community, whether it's blood family or just those that we're creating family in the village with, so that we can lean on each other.
I feel like it's safer having people like yourself do that. Because some people won't be honest and tell a person, I haven't been through that. Let me direct you this way.
Right. Fake it till they make it.
Yeah, fake it till they make it.
So
thank you. I congratulate you for that.
Thank you.
for admitting that you couldn't do it, but you could point in the right direction.
Right. I can nurture you all day. I can tell you something. Be all right. We're gonna push through. But if there's certain stuff, I don't want to just give you some answer that sounds like a textbook answer, because that might not truly get you through your struggle. You know what I'm saying? But if you call me 2:00 in the morning, I'm gonna facilitate somebody to talk to you. So just making sure that we're that helping hand.
That answer your question, but
yeah,
okay,
absolutely.
cool.
In a position where you were speaking about, you went through a divorce 5 years ago. Now you're a single parent, and you know the norm, which I wish it wasn't the norm, is that when you hear the word single parent, automatically you think about the mother and the child. Right. It is kind of oxymoronic. You hear a man say a single parent, and you have a little queen. So now it's like double teachers got to go on. You got to give her the example. Because the first man, she gonna look
that's
to
what she's
her father.
Mm-hmm.
And the second thing is she's been a female at a point, like what the sister was just saying. You have to find someone, which you probably have, to show her the essentialness of being feminine,
right?
A woman and stuff like that. But my question to you, what is the biggest thing that you have to stay on top of as a father, being single, parenting your daughter?
So I'm going to give you this gem, right? Because I missed this mark, and I wish I didn't miss it. I wish I would have taught my daughter to be more competitive. I think because we live in a competitive world. You see what I'm saying? No matter if you're working somewhere, you want that raise, you want that increase, you're getting tired of what you're getting paid. You know what I mean? So you want to be acknowledged, and everything in every aspect is competition. So can we have friendly competition in life? Absolutely. You know what I mean? So like, I'm open to competition. I've always been, but I think because I've always been a dreamer, my daughter lost that because she's seen all of my failures. She focused more on my failures than the successes. I've had way more failures than successes, right? So she focused, because again, she's been my ride or die since 2007. I've had custody of her. So she's seen all of my failures, way more than my successes. I'm feeling like I'm just now starting to win at this phase in life where I am now. So like, the competitive edge is something that I would encourage all parents to make sure, put these kids in sports, put them in dance classes, give them something fun to do where they can look and watch and learn off other people and learn how to be competitive. You know what I'm saying? But to answer your question, you know, the biggest thing that I had to teach my daughter as a single parent that I focused on was the self-respect aspect. You know what I mean? Taking care of yourself, learning your true values.
Absolutely.
Right? Because again, in life, we have our phases, right? And in our phases, 1 minute we'll be on the right track, next minute we fall off, right? When we're on the right track, we get a lot of distractions. But if we stay the course, then we end up building new networks. We begin to find out our true value and true self-worth based off what we're able to perform and accomplish. You see what I'm saying? So I felt like that was the biggest thing, was the self-respect aspect. What does that look like to you as a young queen? You know, because we got a lot of young boys that they're starting early, you know, having sex early. I had my daughter when I was 17. You know what I mean? So it's like she's 21 now. You know what I mean?
We just turned 21.
You know, a young parent. And what happens when you're young, especially a male, because it's like we masquerade.
As that,
We boys.
Oh, man.
And you talk about starting over. When I was reading about the thing, right? So I read a book years ago. It was called The Vision of Black Men. By this brother by the name of Dr. Naim Akbar.
Okay.
And he was focusing on, I'm saying on program.
No, you
He was
fine.
focusing on manhood.
Right.
The development of being a male, a boy, and then manhood.
Right.
He used the metaphor of a butterfly.
So there's a difference between being a man, a boy, and manhood. I got you.
He used the butterfly as the example, the metamorphosis that the butterfly has it takes a lot before it turns into a butterfly.
Yeah.
So he said the worm.
Yeah.
That's the boy.
Yeah.
And it applies to the woman.
I like that. Okay.
Absolutely.
And we know in regards to the cultivation of man and woman that it takes a sperm
yeah.
to impregnate or
yeah.
whatever, right? So then he said that's the male stage. So that's when your parents got to take care of you, you know, the bowling and all of that. Then you get like 7 to 8 stuff in your own identity. Then you get like 12. Now you're a boy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now you're the boy stage.
Yeah.
But as whatever you did taught, though other previous years, because when the process of a caterpillar, what happens when the worms start eating, it spits back up when it's eating and it develops a cocoon.
Oh.
So it's called spittle.
Oh.
Right?
Wow.
And spittle is in the Egyptian terms is a when we say spit, spit that fire, we're saying truth. Spittle is one of the words for truth, right?
Okay.
Wow.
It depends on how well this worm eats.
I like that.
You know, for this cocoon to be
yeah.
He said, now stop. He said, a lot of us, he said, there's a lot of young boys that die of old age. Girls too.
Yeah.
Yes.
So what happens is they get stuck right there in that cocoon.
Hold on. I mean, I got to make sure they heard that. So there's a lot of boys and a lot of girls. Say, give me the line again.
It's a lot of young boys.
There's a lot of
old age.
Okay, so let me rephrase and make it relatable. So there's a lot of young boys and a lot of young girls that are dying of old age.
Correct. So they're getting stuck in their process. They haven't matured from that state.
So that ties back in. And that ties back into what I said earlier about walking them back through your process. Right. They can be stuck in the phase because of the traumatic experiences and never get past that. Go ahead, brother. Go ahead. You're preaching, bro. Go ahead.
So the cocoon, right? So what happens is, then he starts showing like the tangible things that define that person is still on that boy or that girl level.
Yeah.
They start buying like cars and dripping their cars out. Clothes. Got kids now. Got kids.
But you're still doing the stuff, the showboat stuff.
Yeah.
So you're masquerading as a man or masquerading as a woman, but you're in the cocoon. So he said what happens is, because they wasn't fed or taught right. They wasn't eating right.
That's good, bro.
So now it's like the deformity in that cocoon.
In the cocoon, right.
So then sometimes they blossom out.
With I love it. Arrested Development.
Woo!
That's
shout out to Arrested Development.
That's fire. That's fire. Good analogy right there. That is so fire.
It's crazy. I got a piece that say something almost what you just said.
Yeah.
I said, can't arrest my development. You know, because we're anointed.
Yeah.
Right.
So you can't arrest somebody's development when they're anointed.
Yeah.
So anyway, so if the process that we're in, man will come to everybody and woman will come to everybody in different stages.
Right.
And what happens is, like you said, where you at now?
Yeah.
See, what's happening is you don't come out of that cocoon.
Oh yeah.
Now that metamorphosis, that's what starting over looks like.
Yeah.
Starting over is a metamorphosis.
It's a metamorphosis.
Did y'all catch it?
Fire.
Starting over.
Hey, can I piggyback on that real quick?
Yes.
Go ahead.
So being a father, and my son is 17, and what I try to raise him to do is, along with being competitive, I teach him to compete with himself.
Yes.
That way I don't have to worry about him not being able to identify with himself.
Yeah.
He's able to identify with himself because he pushes himself to the next level.
Yeah.
And to piggyback off what that brother was talking about, because I read the same study, which is why I was talking to the queens earlier about discomfort. Sometimes we have to put ourselves in a place of discomfort before life does. So in that cocoon stage, when you get stuck there,
that's good.
When you get stuck there, you gotta focus on the discomfort and learn from that and grow from that. Whether it's doing push-ups or pull-ups, that way you get out to the next stage of the cocoon. That's why those people, it's called retardation. Retardation is not a derogatory term.
No, it's not.
It just means to stop growing.
Right.
So they stop growing and they get stuck in that place. Right.
Yeah.
And when they get stuck in that place, we're so focused on what stuck us there instead of focusing on what can get us out.
Yeah.
So I teach him to be competitive with yourself.
That's good, bro.
That way I don't have to worry about no haters. You're doing what you're supposed to do for you.
Yeah.
So along with that, let's teach them to be competitive with themselves.
Yeah.
You know, because life gonna throw its curveball.
Absolutely.
It's gonna do that.
Yeah.
We're already ready for it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like we can take the punch. The
Yeah.
one thing about boxing is not throwing it, it's taking it.
It's taking it.
Right.
So let me say this first, King. So I once heard a guy say, you can either be the cause to your effect or be affected by the cause.
Oh, wow.
See what I'm saying?
There you go.
And that's the idea.
But
so you can
set it off before somebody else do.
Right. You can volunteer for yourself and go ahead and go through that process. So this is my situation right now. I got you, Ken. I got you.
Okay.
So this is my situation right now. I just signed a lease purchase agreement to own my own semi truck. Right. I'm a truck. So,
yes, owner operation.
Thank you. Yeah, you know what I mean? So thank you. I appreciate it. So what happened was I met a brother that was in the class and younger than me. He's already had 3 trucks on the road. And he's lost it all, but now he's rebuilding. So his perspective is different than somebody that's just getting into trucking. So this is his perspective. He said, bro, and this, for all of my listeners, y'all got to excuse me vulgar language, but he said, bro, fail your ass off. Get out there and just fail. You know what I mean? It's okay to jump out there before time. If you feel like, if you feel excited about it, do it. You know what I mean? Because with every failure, you're going to learn a new process to get better. You see what I'm saying? So don't hesitate to fail. It's not a bad thing. It actually propels us to get where we need to be. You see what I'm saying?
And brother to brother, me and you have our conversation. I want to tell you something else too. We got to stop using those words. Yeah. What is fail? You know what I mean? Like what is that?
Yeah.
Those are words that, listen.
They're trigger words.
Listen, I'm
they become trigger words.
They become trigger words.
I'm a chef, and it's my passion. I never work.
Mm-hmm.
Never. And I'm the most successful I've ever been in my life. Like I cook for people on a yacht. Dang. I've never been there.
Can you get that right?
You know what I mean? So it's
I want to be on a yacht.
It's like, when you get out there, you're not failing, you're learning.
You're learning.
Mistakes are only learning tools, right? Man, they don't taste right. Let me try this.
Let me try this.
Yeah. Let me critique myself. You're getting competition with you.
So let's let you my brother, man. You're a king. Yeah. You know what I mean. So I had to correct you on that. You don't fail. We don't do that. We don't fail. Kids don't fail. Yeah. We only learn. Yeah. And we kick it better the next time.
Yeah. That's it.
Oprah said something that I was never an Oprah fan, not because I didn't like her. I just, when she was popular in her talk show days, I just never identified with that. It was mainly because I've never been a big TV watcher, especially with daytime talk shows, because of the whole stigma that's around it. But in my growth journey where I'm at today, as I've been looking for things to grow, Oprah has been coming up in my sphere. Right? When you're open to it, it comes. The biggest thing I learned in the past 2 weeks was something that she says. Failure is like Stephen said, failure is there to teach you something. And we have to constantly ask ourselves, what is this here to teach me? What is it that I need to learn? Right. And I can't tell you how me starting my own business in the last couple of months, how that has been impactful. Now, this is information that has been out on the web for probably 10, 15, 20 years, if not more. Right. But I'm hearing it at the time where it makes the most sense for me and where it makes the most sense in the space. Right. So I shifted my mindset with that because it's something, I have things that I write down. When I'm struggling with moving my business forward and getting it off the ground, I'm constantly asking myself at every roadblock, what is this here to teach me instead of focusing on the failure? And to bring that full spectrum to what you said about your daughter who's now 21, you can't look at those failures because you're going to have more failures than you are successes. That is the innate process of life, right? Because that's how we get to where we want to go.
Learn your lesson.
If you don't fail enough, it won't get better.
It won't get better.
The expectation that it has to take off and be great, otherwise it's not. And life has a way of humbling you in that regard to remind you that you need the failures to grow. To, like this young man said, to get out of the cocoon. Yeah. Otherwise, you will stay there. You will remain arrested in your development, and the problem will never be yours. It will always be somebody else's. So when you say, "What is it here to teach me?" so that I don't have to stay in remediation or in the cocoon with this lesson, you'll find a way to fight your way out instead of expecting someone like the butterfly to come along and cut you out and free you. Then you fall down and die.
You know what the follow up to that is, though?
That's good.
So
That is
it
good.
comes to the point that we're speaking to the kids within ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
We're speaking to those little kids that felt like nobody saved them,
Mm-hmm.
that felt like, oh my gosh, I got to go tell the teacher I can't triage my own situation.
Right.
And so then we go back to that childhood feeling of rejection.
Yeah.
And I think once we realize that rejection, like a lot of people say, rejection isn't a no, it's a not right now.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes it's a not right now because that was not even the path we were supposed to be on. So you needed to pivot.
Mm-hmm.
And the sooner we teach children that, is the quicker they'll learn.
Yeah.
So even down to like my daughter, she turns 10 next week. She watches our podcast.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I didn't start her one, and she went in her room and turned on YouTube and found us. And it was just like, this baby was serious. She was like, no, I want to know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
But I try to teach her even down to how a lot of times when we grew up, we didn't really talk about our feelings, right? You talked about it in that moment, but if it stuck with you, you didn't really like harbor or really walk yourself through why I felt that way, how I got to the conclusion.
Mm-hmm.
And so teaching our youth to do that now, instead of when they're enraged, they just go to the closest gun, which is what a lot of them are doing right now. And like, oh, I'm just going to create a permanent resolution.
Yeah.
Instead of learning like, hey, you're going to have times you don't get along with someone. You're going to have times where you have complex situations. So how are you pivoting?
Mm-hmm.
How are you learning and pushing through that so that you can start over and grow?
That's why
Temporary emotions can't create permanent situations.
Absolutely.
And that's why we got to do that starting over every day.
That's good.
It's 24 hours in a day, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you've learned how to drive trucks, you know what the failures are,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
right? The teaching lessons.
Right.
You know what those are. Why not go ahead and capitalize on those now before they come?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right,
And you got more to risk with a business partner
Yeah.
than you do doing it on your own.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's 24 hours in a day. We should learn one thing at least once a day.
Mm-hmm.
Remain teachable.
I agree.
Remain teachable.
Yeah. Yeah.
I hear struggle and like trials and stuff like that. And it's say each battle you go through prepares you for a particular success.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
So everything that we go through, she was talking about it. All of us talking about it.
It's
the preparation. You know?
Yeah.
And some of them are so hard. Some of these battles are so hard, it'll freeze you.
Yeah.
And sometimes you'll get back in the cocoon.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Retardation.
Yeah. That's good. Yeah.
But some can draw you right.
You feel like you need that shelter again, that safety.
Yeah.
I think it's so important for you to be around healthy people that are healthy.
Mm-hmm.
Healthy, like-minded.
Yeah.
You have to be around like-minded people
Mm-hmm.
because most things now are really toxic.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because they got a dollar sign attached to it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it don't look like it's toxic,
Mm-hmm.
but it becomes toxic.
Yeah.
And then the kids, the children are not learning life skills.
Mm-hmm.
Coping skills, life and coping
Life
skills.
skills.
Yeah.
And if you haven't been taught them yourself or someone haven't taught them to you,
Mm-hmm.
then the child is like going to be void of a lot of things. That's taken what I first mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
So when the man is not in his proper place,
Go ahead, King.
the woman is misplaced.
Yep.
The
Mm.
child
Absolutely.
is displaced.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Go ahead.
God is replaced.
And God is replay.
Them 5 G's.
Hold on. Say it again. Say it again.
Trickle down effect.
When the man is not in his proper place,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
the woman is misplaced,
Okay.
the child is displaced,
Mm-hmm.
and God is
Replays.
Yeah. Hey, 5 P's. That's the goal
Fire.
for all men to really become a man. And to call yourself a king, we need more men to be the 5 P's.
Yeah.
Priest, prophet, promoter, provider, and protector.
Mm.
5 P's. That's it. We need more
I
men
love
to
it.
do that. And
I love
you
it.
can't call yourself a king unless you're doing those 5.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm.
Right?
Yeah.
But we need women to validate that
Yeah.
their emotion.
Mm-hmm.
And not use it as a way to tear men down, but to teach them. Like,
Absolutely.
we're here,
Yeah.
right? We're here for you. We know you need us. Like we
Yeah,
have
yeah.
a man telling us.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All you got to do is just embrace it, and I'll help you.
Right.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Then, when we get to the mental and emotional aspect of things, then we begin to help each other grow the way we're supposed to. Then you become that 3-4, that threefold core. I'm sorry, and you become one with the woman, and you got that spiritual aspect which helps the couples grow.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Why you got people trying to be successful and their marriage is horrible?
Mm.
You know what I mean? So
Ooh, somebody said
back
the other
what we
day.
were talking about
That's
earlier,
good.
you're gonna bring that work home to try to hide the pain.
Yep.
and then it's all gonna trickle over.
Mm.
To talk a little bit about what you all are saying, and I don't want to take up too much time.
No,
go ahead.
Rarely in a space where I get to hear black men on this level. So
Don't it feel good?
It feels so good, girl. But
Yes.
let me tell you, like the things that you all are saying are helping me, the 20-year ago me, because my boys, I'm the oldest one in here. I already figured that out. But
Yeah, she's only 18. Yeah, I promise.
I'm 18. My boys are 28 and 24. Well, about to be 28 and 25.
Wow, okay.
And I remember when my kids were 10, 11, 12, crying like, God, I can't teach my boys how to be a man. I can't teach my boys how to be a man. And then I got divorced from that father, and I'm just like, I failed my kids. And then I was in the Marine Corps, and I went to deployment on my son's 9th birthday. And I was just like, I'm such a terrible mother. I left my kid on his birthday. I'm in Kuwait. He's asking me, why am I not there with him? I'm such a failure. And then a couple of years later, things started to get better for us. I've retired now and done all of these things, but I'm still where my kids were at 9 and 10. Wow. I'm such a horrible mother, but I'm retired from the Marine Corps and I've given them this quality of life. But I'm such a horrible mother because I left my kid when he was 9. Yeah. But yet I've graduated college and I've shown I've removed all
started over.
Right. I removed you have no excuse now because you've seen somebody in your family graduate college. Right. But I'm back at 9 or 10 when I left my kid. I'm such a horrible mother.
You're not giving yourself grace.
But my children are now in upper middle class America in a house that we own. Yeah. But I'm still back there at 9 and 10 talking about I'm such a horrible mother. But now my son is 28, married with a family of his own. And then I'm asking my 28-year-old son at 50, Darian, was I a bad mother?
Do you feel like you're still making up for that?
Yeah. That's why I'm listening to this conversation. And am I training my mind to get out of that? I am.
You are.
But it's been years and I'm still training.
You was the one that stayed in the fight. When everything went crazy, you stayed in the fight.
But I'm still trained. But you all are saying. Yeah. You all are saying what I've been fighting for almost 2 decades.
Can I give you some neuroscience? This is something that I learned, right? It helped me get through my processes. Because a lot of people don't know. I've been married 3 times. You know what I mean? I'm 38. I'm still a young man. Want to live right.
Come on, Grandpa. No, I'm just playing.
I feel like I live by 7 lives, though. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You know what I mean? So this is something I learned watching, learning about neuroscience, and this is important because I think it's so foundational and so simple, but we overlook it because it's just like. So, from the time that an offense takes place, right? It's called a refractory period. It's our root cause, right? So in our root cause, if we ignore that we're actually offended and we don't resolve it then and there, what happens is it puts you in the mood, right? So I come to you and say, sis, why are you upset? What's up? You know what I mean? What you tripping for? Why you still bothered about what happened back then? Since, I just kind of haven't let go of the situation yet, whatever. So boom, we talk today. This is where you are. You in the mood. From the refractory period. A week later, hey, what's up? I seen you online. Now we're crossing paths. How you feeling? Oh, I'm still dealing with the situation, whatever. Now that's called temperament, right? So you go from the refractory period, which is the root cause, to having a mood, to now dealing with temperament. Temperament is where we deal with learning how to suppress things very well without actually ever getting back to that root cause. Now we live in our entire lives in temperament, content with being content, right? So years later, sis, what's up? How you been? You know what I mean? Like, it's been 10 years ago. Like, the kids are grown. How you doing? Right? You still dealing with the same issue. Now, at that point, it becomes a personality trait. It becomes who you are because you never went to the root cause, but you've suppressed your entire life, which means that now those ideas and the feelings that you felt when it first happened is now become a part of you. Now, this is the second half of it. When that happens, our body could act as a subconscious mind better than the mind can, because we've released chemical. What's it called? Endorphins, right? Our body released those chemical endorphins, right? That our body could actually become addicted to. So now, anything that makes me go back and think of the situation because we never dealt with it. Now it's become a part of us where we've actually accepted it to be who we are. So we look for those things to validate that feeling and that rush of energy, those same waves of emotions, like all of that plays a part if we never deal with that root cause. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, we got what happens spiritually, what happens mentally, and what happens physically, right? So what happens spiritually? A lot of us don't realize we can live our entire lives not knowing why all hell breaks loose every time we try to do something good. You see what I'm saying? It's spiritual. So the way I understand it and the way I break it down is this. You know, the first step of spirituality is having faith in something. You know what I mean? So if I believe in anything and it excites me, that just enters me into a new realm of spirituality, because now that's faith. You know what I mean? So if I just enter into a new realm that I'm not aware of, what I don't know is whatever spiritual comes spiritual attacks, right? So if I'm not equipped to enter into this realm, you know, that's why they're like new believers. I'm a believer. You know, I just believe differently. But for like new believers that jump out there, yeah, I just gave my life to Christ. Then 2 weeks later, oh, you know what? I thought about that thing.
That's not for me. Because they done ran up into 5 different things that happened in that week.
You know what I'm saying? So like we don't realize we're not equipped spiritually to know what to expect after we've entered into that realm of spirituality. That's the first thing. Second thing is what happened mentally. What happens mentally is we can get caught up in these cycles, right? Scheduling. Like there's no unseen hand that actually causes your stresses. It's actually you looking for those things because you've lived your life not dealing with issues that you just learn to suppress. And now you have a lifestyle of knowing what that feeling, being addicted to what that feeling feels like, if that makes sense. That makes sense? So now we have that. Then it's what happens physically, where the body could act more as a subconscious mind than the mind can. You see what I'm saying? So like, this is just, it comes with wanting to learn truth and wanting to heal. You know what I mean? Like, we're big on mental health here too, right? At the Kool Spot. We're big on learning the sciences behind things, why things happen. You know what I'm saying? Right. Stuff like what we're talking about now.
As a nutritional chef, I want to add something to your conversation right there. Yeah. We also got to remember that our body is a machine. So to get over certain things emotionally and mentally, you have to eat right.
That plays a part too.
You have something in your head, in your brain, called a pineal gland, and it's the seat of the soul. So about 2 years ago, I started doing a study on how to feed the pineal gland. Right. So when I learned how to feed it, I started cooking those foods and feeding it to myself. Okay. Wow. As I started doing that, my mind literally started erasing negative things, my past, the abuse I experienced as a child, the sexual abuse I experienced as a child, the drugs, the gangs. It started erasing that because my mind was maturing physically. So as my mind and my body matured physically, my mental matured, because I dealt with depression, anxiety, PTSD. I was taking medications. Like, I felt like I was losing it. And once I separated from my wife, it's like going through that separation with her, I crashed. And it was back to the streets. Then when I started feeding myself right, I started recognizing I had a better purpose. Right? So now I want to say to you, it's something called soul ties. You still feel the same way you do because you have soul ties to your past. You got to let those go. Because the man, he's not going to do what he's supposed to. Really, the kid's father's supposed to give you that freedom and release those soul ties and come to you and say, look, you did an excellent job. When I failed as a man, you did a wonderful job. All right? You're back, you're starting over, you're picking up the pieces. He's not going to do that because men are not men anymore. All right? So being as though he's not going to do that, you got to do that for yourself. Release those soul ties, eat right, treat yourself, do some healthcare, then your mental will prepare. You know, as a chef, I had to throw that in there. Eat right. Eat right. Eat right. Like, if have you ever gorged on food and then you get angry and then you feel bad and then you got an attitude about everything, you're picky? Get up in the morning and eat a good breakfast. See how your day go. Eat a healthy lunch. See how your day go. Right? Put some of these things in your body to feed the melanin in your body. Our pineal gland literally excretes melanin into our body. But if you don't feed it, it will not do it.
And I'm gonna say this too, sis, because you're a beautiful individual. I just met you.
You are.
You know what I mean? You got a beautiful spirit. I can see that you are like well-rounded.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Like you're business smarts. You're a people person. You're loving.
Absolutely.
You got all the good qualities to live the life you want. You know what I'm saying? You know, so just don't. I would say, get to the root of it.
You don't need a king to be a queen.
The thing that you need. The thing that I would say that, and I don't know this whole situation, but I would say the most important thing, if your biggest concern was with your kids, then hash it out with your kids. You know what I mean? Have a group meeting, express everything that you want to express, put it all out on the table. You know what I mean? And then you guys have that heart to heart, and y'all hash it out and move on with life. You know what I'm saying? Get past that. You're beautiful. You deserve whatever you want in life.
It's
You
the
know what I'm
same
saying?
thing in regards to what you said about you went to Kuwait and your son was 9. I mean, like, it's sad, but a lot of families, that's why I said when the man ain't there.
Yeah.
So my mom had 7. It was a whole lot of days where we didn't see moms until 12 or 1 in the morning.
Yeah.
So, and I tell her this now. I saw what you were doing to make sure that we ate. You know, so you wasn't doing it because you didn't get deported because that's what you wanted. You did it because you knew you needed to build a family for your seed.
It's going to better the family. Yeah.
And one thing about a mother's love, I don't think nothing compares to that. You know,
absolutely.
Of course, we love our dad.
Yeah.
Take nothing away from them, but it's something about the love of a mother. I don't think nothing can compare to that.
Can't replace that.
Y'all would do what's necessary to make sure that we eat.
Yeah. Yeah.
And even with that, I feel like a lot of times, being a fellow single mother, we don't give ourselves enough grace. We're so hard on ourselves. We know, we have to instill so much. We take so much time sometimes trying to fill 2 roles that we're overcompensating, and we might be spoiling them in another capacity that's not needed. And sometimes it takes having conversations. I have difficult conversations with my 9-year-old. We hash it out. We cry together. She'll tell me how she feels about it. And even in Lamoy is an amazing uncle. I mean, I have one biological brother, but I've been blessed with multiple additional brothers. Lamoy, Travis, and everybody's willing to step in on Madison's behalf. Lord knows she got a slew of aunties, and they're amazing too. But that male role and her having the space to say, I mean, she started over with her dad, right? Trying to refresh that relationship. And it's a work in progress. And I try to be as positive as I can be. I never say anything negative. But I let her know how you feel is okay. The situation is not okay. Okay. For someone not to do what they're going to do. But how are we going to grow from here? What are we going to do so that we can maneuver and understand that these things are truths? This is what we would like to occur. Maybe we'll get there one day. Maybe that's in our thoughts, our prayers, but moving as we're moving forward, this is what we're going to do. But that also requires us as moms giving ourselves grace, because we'll take accountability for what someone else didn't do. And we'll hold that and we'll harbor that. And sometimes, like you said, when your son was like, oh, like you did great. My daughter tells me like that sometimes, like, oh, you're the best mom. And I'm like, and in my mind, I'm just like, well, I just want to give you so much more. Or maybe I don't want to work a part-time job that I have to work sometimes. But explaining and having certain transparent conversations, she's like, oh, no, you're great. I love you. I just want you right here. And so a lot of times we have to release that. You know what I'm saying? And what has occurred has occurred. And like you said, hashing it out with them, seeing if there's something else, and then truly quieting those thoughts. I was told something yesterday that when we pray, sometimes we pray for patience, and patience and long suffering go hand in hand. And so my friend, shout out VA, he said that you should pray for longevity through the anxiousness, so that you can be kept while you're going through the process, but not necessarily asking to not have any control in the situation, because patience and long suffering a lot of times mean that you're not going to have any control in it. That you're going to fully have to release, and that could be rock bottom, it could be whatever. So being aware of what we're praying for when we pray.
And there's no perfect parenting situation either.
Absolutely not.
And like I said, even with my daughter, with the competitive thing, like I said earlier, I wish I would have taught her to be more competitive, because that's just the world that we live in.
Absolutely.
So she's so easy and going and so laid back. I like to think of myself being laid back too. You know what I'm saying? But
she's cool on the other side of the pillow.
She's like, she's just so cool.
She's so cool.
You know what I'm saying? And you know, that's daddy's girl. But it's like, even though I know she's a great person, she has a head on straight. She works for what she earns. She earns what she worked for, or whatever, and she does everything on her own. She's independent like that. You know what I'm saying? And it's beautiful. And you know, she knows how to come back and ask if she needs it. You know, all of that stuff is good. But I still look because I know it could have been better in me. It could have been better. You know what I'm saying? And I could have done a better job. Put it that way. I could have done a better job with teaching her how to be more competitive because she's not fighting for nothing. If her boyfriend act up, she's done. You know what I'm saying? Like she.
Sometimes it's okay to cut them off like
that. What I'm saying is the biggest thing that we all do to ourselves is that butt.
That butt.
B-U-T.
Yep.
that negates everything you just said.
That a lot of us women took a long time to learn, and I'm including myself in that cat.
Yeah.
It took me a long time to learn to give up on somebody when they should have been gave up on. So maybe you didn't give her that competitiveness. What if you had given it to her?
She'd be fighting for something that's not worth it. She would have been
fighting to keep relationships that she shouldn't have been in.
Wow.
That butt is for you. It's not for her.
That's so good.
So you need to take that butt away.
Yeah, but
because she's doing exactly what she needs to do as a woman, especially as a Black woman in today's culture. When we're talking about, there is not a clear, holistic. He said a word that I'm trying to think of. There's not toxic. There's a lot of toxic spaces. And had she maybe had her personality, because we got to give up that our kids should be what we want to be.
And that's the thing. That's what a guilt comes.
Having a 24-year-old and being a grandmother at this age, I'm seeing that come full circle. I learned some of the same things that I try to have cautioned my daughter through over the years. She's fighting and looking for some of the same things that I was looking for. So I learned to not just give grace to myself, but to give grace to my child.
That's good.
Yes, I am. My grandbaby is almost 2.
Come on.
I'm smart as she can be.
That's good.
But I had to learn to give her grace. I was getting angry because I wanted her to be who I wasn't, who I was fighting to be. So the butt was on me. The butt wasn't on her.
It wasn't on her.
She's going to have to learn her lessons how she learned them. And you have to give yourself grace, like your partner in crime said. You did an excellent job because for so many women who are staying in the domestic violence situations, for so many women who are staying in verbally abusive situations, for so many women who are having babies with multiple men because they're creating the same behaviors and patterns with people who look different but have the same kind of character. She has an amazing something, so she's not going to bring no trash to your house.
No, she's not.
Because she knows how to release it, because she has a calm and a peace within herself that maybe her being competitive would have driven away from.
Look at that.
So you got to clap for yourself.
Okay. Shout out, Limo.
Clapping for that. Like, that's good.
A male role model. You did an amazing job, and I don't want to hear you say nothing else.
Nah.
Okay, she done mama you again.
See, I brought it up.
You gave it to me already.
I brought it up because I feel like every parent feel like there's always a guilt somewhere in what we've done and how we've.
Competitive is really a male trait. It's really not a female trait. It's really
guess that is true.
And then we got to be
competition aspect of it.
We got to be honest too. So at some point, we have to stop trying to parent adults.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you raise a child the way they should go.
Yeah, and that's it. My hands is off.
Like, at some point, you got to stop trying to parent adults.
And then with that means if we're still trying to parent adults, right? Then now we're not living in the future. We're living in the past. We're not in the moment. So absolutely. So most of what we stated in this last, 10 minutes or so has really talked about doing that, what people call that shadow work, that work in yourself, that peeling back those layers, right? And really saying what's the root cause. So taking it back to science, taking it back to that imbalance. Where are we at? And how can we get through this so that I can live in the moment and truly live and not feel weighted or feel heavy? Because sometimes that heavy weight, regardless, can become physical. All of those things can continue to compound. And then we're giving off different things that are different than who we are. Then we look in the mirror and we don't know who we are.
We'll be tough.
Okay.
I noticed that too, with your daughter, I let her close out the show. But the number one thing I noticed was after she performed, you told her twice, as a matter of fact, to do her
Do
daily affirmations.
affirmations.
That first time I was like, you feel that? Do it again.
Yeah. It was also like that positive reinforcement.
Yeah.
One thing I keep on hearing people saying, or at least the way I'm internalizing it, is discipline and transparency.
Yeah.
So when you go to grace, right? My sister tells me something all the time that always sticks with me is comparison is the thief of joy. So, and she even found herself doing it sometimes, and we all do it,
right?
But sometimes, like going back to like holding that guilt about being a parent. I'm not a parent myself, but everyone who knows me knows my nephew was my life.
Right.
You know, his dad's not in his life. Y'all know that's just my guy. And that to not even look at that as I have more of a responsibility. For one, I owe God, the people who raised me, to have a success in this young man's life. So with saying that, when it goes back to discipline, I found myself that I became greater once I found what my discipline was. So before that, I was always struggling trying to get to point A and point B, but then it got to the point where I had to be transparent with myself was like, what does Travis want out of life?
Right.
And also too, you know, also being capable and being safe with it's okay to want this out of life. And don't compare yourself to other people that you think got more than you or whatever the case may be, because you don't know what that person did to get it. You don't know who he robbed, who he killed, who he crossed over.
It's their lane.
Yeah, that's their lane.
Yeah.
So that's where that comparison angle comes from. So I just know, like, we are constant. We are a reflection of the earth. You know, 70% water on the ground. We got 70% of whatever the number is. So we also got to keep in mind that if we're going to compare ourselves to things, compare ourselves to positive things. Because that's where the teaching also comes from too, where you can gain your discipline. That could be like, okay, Langston Hughes may have done it like this, but I'm gonna take what little bit I gathered from that, and I'm gonna apply it to how I want to do it. Because you also gotta keep in mind that even the fact that you are rotating, you also owe it to yourself to put an imprint on this earth after you leave too. So I just think, you know, it's just important that it's good that we have this conversation, because we have these open dialogues, transparency, where we do realize that we are a master to a degree of our own success. You know, and we also have to learn and internalize and listen. You know, that it's not called brain thinking; it's called brainstorming. You know, like you are with, like, you know, the clouds, the bringing of the earth. It storms, it, you know, it rains or whatever, and that's what you're doing, releasing endorphins, raining into your body, whatever the case may be. So you're creating the process,
right?
And then what happens is when you're writing something, you're evaporating those emotions out into the world. So I think it's just good.
You better be segueing into the poetry area. And he's like, because when you write something, guys. All right, I'm sitting.
I'm just saying all this stuff is tying together. I just wanted to actually give you grace on that, like that affirmation. Those
good,
things are important.
Thank you.
Because like the discipline will like guide you to where you need to go to eventually.
Right.
You know, either it's gonna be tomorrow or later on in life. But having that trust in yourself and that courage in yourself is all you know that's really needed. But like I can understand that, you know, we as humans blame ourselves a lot for certain things, but you know, I just think it's just good, like my man was saying, when you wake up the next day, it's a whole new starting over chapter.
Yeah, it is.
You know, you are the, you know, and when you wake up, you are the oldest you ever been and the youngest you ever will be.
So
you're the managers. And
so what I'm hearing is, as we're starting over, we have to remember that we are the managers of ourselves. Every day is a new start, and that we have to give ourselves grace, mercy, but also have discipline.
And one more thing, Free. The difference between grace and mercy. Grace is getting what we don't deserve. Mercy is not getting what we do deserve.
That is good.
That's right.
That's good.
So when you give grace, you actually have to appreciate that in a way where you act on it. You know what I mean? We gotta start giving ourselves stuff that we're not going to use tomorrow just because it get us through today. You know what I mean? Like the next test is tomorrow. What did we learn from this?
Right. Applying what you've learned.
Apply what you learned. We went through it. You know, like the brother was saying, we have to start putting ourselves in uncomfortable positions and stop being so bougie like it's not going to happen. You know, the month to month, 30 days. Them 30 days are not going to go by without something twisting and turning. It's learning, right? So we get in there and we get in there in them affirmations and we teach ourselves, put ourselves in uncomfortable positions. We're able to fight it when it do come. We're ready, trained. You know what I mean? So that's the difference between grace and mercy.
You never studied for something that you didn't pass.
That's
You
right.
pass it. You had to study. You had to do research. You had to internalize. You had to figure out what you were good at and what you needed to work on.
Right.
So
And them 24 hours in a day are gonna be so competitive to yourself.
Right.
To competing with yourself again.
With yourself,
Yeah, and that's also a good way to have a healthy competition with yourself.
Yeah.
Right.
It's more positive, giving yourself that advice, that affirmation, and talking to yourself, internalizing. And that's the thing, like, a lot of things we're talking about is all within.
Right.
Everything we're talking about is like is an internal chaos within ourselves. Like it's meant for us, we're talking out loud because we're pushing out what we've internalized and pushing it back out to the universe.
Man,
absolutely.
Y'all turned it to a whole mastermind segment.
Okay.
That's what success comes from.
This is empowering. But you know what, guys? We're gonna have to end this with you all, and we love you all, and we appreciate it. I said we're gonna respect your time. Next time, make sure you come out and physically continue here with us, because we're gonna continue for a little bit. We're gonna finish up. We're gonna have our poetry cipher moment as well. I ain't gonna cut you off.
Go ahead.
I just wanted to tell y'all thank y'all, and next time we want y'all to be here at the Secret Garden.
You gotta be here.
Again, shout out to Rebelize Vintage for these dope shirts, because we doing it for the culture.
For the culture. Yeah.
I'm your co-host, Free the Poet.
I'm your host, Lamore the Cena, aka The Gator. Hey, you guys stay tuned, because we're gonna transition so we can do our open mic cipher. You want to start a new stream for that, or we just gonna keep going? We'll keep it going. All right. So don't forget to follow us on social media, the Kool Spot NC, and also the Kool Spot on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. We have a website. You can keep up with what we got going on. Well, the website is on hold for right now. Oh, I'm rebranding the website. Yeah,
but it's a Patreon.
It's a Patreon.
The Patreon exists. Okay.
Now, if you guys can follow the Patreon, if you guys have been following on my Facebook, and I'm going to post it today, I did a presentation on the Jay-Z God did his verse on DJ Khaled's that God did album. I did a whole presentation on that.
Yeah, it's good.
Y'all check it out. I talk about what these are more like, these are like the whole, what do they call it? I can't think of the name, but anyway, but I talk about pantheism, panentheism, pantheist. A pantheist. This is a little quick synopsis, right? So a pantheist is so let me start like this. You have the theist in the world of believers. You have the theist, which is your more traditional believer, right? That says you cannot incorporate God with the universe. So God and the universe is separate, right? That's a theist, the traditional believers. Now you also have a pantheist, which says that God and the universe are the same. So everything that we are, everything that we see is all God. But then you have the panentheist, which says that God is greater than the universe, right? So I talk about this whole presentation, and I give my perspective and my alleged claim of Jay-Z's belief, which is I believe he may be a believer, but his core belief, it lies solely within the law of causality, which is the law of cause and effect, right? So you don't need a higher power to be involved in your success. It's all about your output is based on the input that you put in, right?
I know
so
we building on before I leave.
We building, bro. Hey, come on, man. So,
y'all gotta check it out.
So you gotta check it out. It's deep. It's deep, but it's digestible. You know what I'm saying? And I did it in a way where it was fun. I shared my opinion. I did a review of the song. I gave everybody's perspective, or my perspective on everybody's verses. But my main focus was Jay-Z's verse, because of course Hov did, which of course we know that Hov is a replication of God. He called himself God, so he's juicing his ego in third person through his verse. You know what I'm saying? So I go down the line, I explain different things, and I also go into the apologetics of it as well. How you can't really talk about this is just in my explanation, and I'm open for the discussion, but you can't talk about nature, science, the universe without talking about God. And I give that explanation and my sources in the presentation, so y'all got to go back and check that out, man. It's deep,
because that's one of those facts first,
feeling second.
Even though he gave an opinion, he backed it up with the facts.
It up with the sources.
So
that's on Patreon.
It's on Patreon. So the Patreon, I'm actually it's on my Facebook page right now. Okay. I'm going to share it on my Instagram, the video. But the Patreon is going to give you access to the presentation itself with the speaker notes. So you have access to the whole presentation, and I'm going to do an ebook version of it as well, flip style. ebook. So for all of you guys that like to read in the ebook stuff like that, you can just kind of flip pages. So I'm working on all of that. You know what I'm saying?
We busy.
We busy. We working over here.
We always got something going on. Okay.
We working. So y'all check that out. Follow the Kool Spot. Check us out on Instagram, Facebook, your social media. What's your social media?
Free the Poet NC.
Free the Poet NC. I'm Lamore Decina. Y'all can check us out on social media, man. So let's transition.
Are we live for the other portion? Or
yeah,
just because
we live.
Oh,
we live.
We're gonna give them a sneak peek.
We'll go live. We'll go live and get y'all this one here. We'll go live.
Hey guys, next time we would love for you to be here with us in person in Raleigh, North Carolina. Okay. Yeah. Again, it's the Secret Garden. Make sure you follow, so you can see what else they have going on. Yep. All right. So we had a couple people on the sign-up list.
Yeah, we have more that walked in.
We do. Come on, Savali and Ajadi.
So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7,
8, 9, 10, 11. She's like, take one down. So we got 10. You're not going? I'm about to say, King, stop playing.
Come on,
not King with a Y. Come on now.
King. All right, so
you jump starting?
So we're gonna jump this. We're gonna jump start this.
You gonna jump start?
You want me to say?
Yeah, you jump starting.
Oh my goodness. All right, so I got one here. I got one.
Okay.
And we're gonna end up moving this right here so you guys can have standing room unless you guys feel comfortable.
Y'all want to sit down?
Y'all want to sit or stand? We have a musician from Cali, Dante, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we know you are.
So do you need the actual music, or are you gonna do it without music? I could use some music. But you can use some. I can do it either way. You can do it with it. Okay. Dante's a traveling artist, a musician, traveling musician is what we call him.
Absolutely.
And he's gonna come up and he's out of Cali and he just so happened to be in the area, right?
Absolutely.
And yeah, he's seen our information and
you're traveling all 50 states, right? Doing open mic?
Yeah, 50 states and 50 days, 50 open mic.
Oh wow. Right. Share your story when you come up too, bro.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah. Oh, matter of fact, I gotta set my camera back up because I need some good quality. I need to use some promo.
Oh, I mean, we can take a short siesta. A little siesta.
We're gonna take a quick break. You guys can stay tuned. We're just gonna off the cameras real quick. Y'all stay tuned. Give us like 10 minutes.
We just restarted the broadcast.
We want to restart it?
Yeah. We'll send out a new link just for the cypher. So if you want to come and just listen to the podcast portion, you're able to do so on the recap, and then the cypher portion will be separate. Okay. Thank you all. We'll see you back in a little bit.
We'll be right back. Y'all stay tuned.
Ooh,